There's, you know, Today I'm feeling raw. And I'm just going to start from there because I'm aware that there's more of me to bring into these videos, more of my personal experiences, because that's always how I've gleaned the most from other people, is understanding what their process has been, seeing them by example, helping me understand how to do the same thing for myself. So I'm going to just share today where I'm starting, and that is a place of rawness. Perhaps you saw my video from yesterday, which was being in a state of, as I look back, some grief, some frustration, some activation inside of me. Anytime that amount of activation comes up within me, I'm bound to have an awareness or an insight or an epiphany or just a big release of a cry. And that happened last night and this morning. And the thing that I want to bring from that experience into this conversation is the awareness that I had of the roles that we play unconsciously, unintentionally, the roles that we as little gay boys take on to be safe, to find our place, and how so deeply ingrained those roles are that we don't even recognize them. And we don't recognize how they're affecting our lives, how they are creating an identity and a reality that we're not even aware of. So something that became highlighted for me this morning as I was in meditation and contemplation, which is what I do first thing in the morning, what arose from that space of contemplation was how deeply ingrained the identity and the role of being the one who takes care of others, the caretaker, how deeply ingrained that has been in my body, mind, nervous system, heart. Every aspect and layer of my being has identified with the role of being a caretaker or a healer, someone that helps others feel better. Of course, this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. It has prepared me for the work that I do now, which I love so much. And it has instilled within me the ability to tune into what people need, to be aware of how to navigate, guide, or just hold space for those people. So the patterns that came up in early childhood that prepared me for this are very beneficial in a lot of ways. However, these roles and identities that we carry all have a shadow side, that if we are unaware of this role, then we will unintentionally play out patterns from childhood where this role was based. We will continue to play out those patterns in our adult life. So what I became aware of in my contemplation this morning was the ways that this role, how it was formed. I've known this on some level, and it's been a part of my own healing journey to see this. But as with everything, there are layers to the things that we're able to see, and how, when we are ready, we can see more deeply the patterns and the shadows of the things that are a little hidden. And this morning, what I felt, what I pieced together, and this is the beautiful thing about doing healing work and being conscious and aware, is that we get to start to see all of the puzzle pieces come together. And when those pieces come together, like I experienced this morning, it's not always an amazing, aha, wow, I understand, I get it. It's often, oh, fuck, fuck, a level of grief, anger, um, just all of the emotions that can rise up when we see a pattern more clearly, especially the patterns that have existed for our whole life. There is often anger and grief attached to that because we see how we have been influenced and how our choices have been influenced for our whole lives. So what I saw this morning, I can't believe that I hadn't fully put these pieces together in a way that landed in the way as it did this morning. And that is that I am the baby in my family by 10 years. So I came into a family dynamic that was already set. All of the siblings before me, and then I came 10 years later. So I was brought into this dynamic, which I could say was unhealthy, that most families have their own dysfunctional dynamics. So those dynamics were set by the time I came into the family. So I became this toy. They told me that when I was just old enough to walk, that they would put me in the middle of the living room and everyone would gather around and they would play music and I would dance. I always thought of that as really sweet, and I still do in some ways, except for this morning, I recognized, oh, the one who entertains, the one who makes people feel better, the one who diffuses intense energy, that I have played that role in my family forever. And I have played that role with family members, that I have made them feel better. I have helped them feel less anger or less alone, that I always knew how to make people feel better. And that in so many ways has been a detriment to my own life. I've had to learn how to navigate playing that role, which I didn't realize I was playing. I've turned it into what I do for work. I've turned it into my purpose. And it's again, a beautiful thing. And I love doing this. However, I needed to learn how to have reciprocity, how to live my own life and to have boundaries with how I support other people and how I relate to people, finding people that help support me so that I am not the one who is always giving, but that I'm able to receive, that I'm able to be cared for myself, that other people are able to hold space for me. There's been a level of receiving that I haven't allowed myself to have. There's still those shadow aspects of how I was raised. And in Mormon culture, where I was raised, there are very specific roles of what it means to be a good person. I've practiced so much giving that it feels uncomfortable at times to receive. And so that is my continued practice for myself. I'm assuming that you probably have your own role that you have taken on from a young age. So often it's the performer. This is something that I see a lot in the guys that I work with, is there's this need to tap dance. Yeah, I'm funny, I'm happy, I'm doing good, and yeah, to be that person, or to be the peacemaker, just everything's fine. Oh yeah, everything's fine. You understand them, right? We got it. Whew, okay, if everybody else is okay, I'm okay. The one that's super quiet and has no needs, the really good boy who gets all good grades and his room is always clean, or the rebellious one that pushes everybody away, the one that's like, I don't need anybody here. All of these roles, and I'm sure you could name many more and how they overlap in your life. All of these roles are not actually truly who we are. Some of them can be very beneficial in our lives, but if we don't start piecing apart these deeply ingrained identities and roles that aren't serving us in other ways in our lives, if we don't start seeing them and understanding what they're doing in our day-to-day lives, how they're affecting us, then we will butt up against the same patterns over and over. In my own life, there was a pattern of not feeling loved and cared for, of choosing people who I would take care of in hopes that they would pour something into me. But because my identity was so strong that I am the one that gives, that I often left those situations, those relationships, feeling like I didn't receive very much. That wasn't the other person's fault. I was choosing people. I was creating scenarios and dynamics that would repeat what happened in my childhood because that was known. So what areas in your life are you repeating dynamics of a role that you took on in childhood? How is it serving you? Like mine serves me very well in the work that I do. And how is it not serving you? How is the overemphasis or the under consciousness, the under awareness of this role, if it's running on autopilot, how is that a disservice to your life? How is it creating the patterns that you find yourself running into over and over, and you're just calling it your destiny? It's not your destiny. It's happening over and over to highlight how the role that you are playing unconsciously is outdated. And so what would the truth look like? What if you could take the best qualities of the roles that you've played and utilize those things, be thankful for them, and to consciously say, the parts of this role that are outdated, I'm letting go. You might list them down. Here's all the ways that this role has not been serving me. Here's all the ways that it is serving me. And now I get to consciously choose. It might take a while to reorganize the way you perceive yourself and the world. It might take a while to reprogram your mind, and it is possible, and it's freeing to know that you have the ability to transform even a lifelong pattern. After 49 years of living this pattern and seeing a new layer of it, I now have more agency and more choice. I now can decide that I'm worthy of receiving, and that all of the receiving that hasn't been getting in, right? It's kind of like that, like really dry soil where rain only gets about that far down. That has been at times in my life how much I've been able to receive. And so there's a core part of me that is undernourished, that has been dying to receive, dying to have the reciprocity of all of the energy that I give out, to really allow it to sink into the core. And because I was able to see this deeper layer this morning, I can have the choice of removing that layer of the role that I've played, so that the nourishment, the love, the support, the finances, everything that I have felt has been missing on some level, that it reaches my center and my core. This is your invitation to find your own version of this and to do the same for yourself. So much love to you, and I'll see you tomorrow.